let's judge these banned cards and see if they're worthy of being pulled off the list or not. Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Can This Card Be Unbanned? So, like usual, let's take a look at the comments from last video before discussing the next 4 cards on the ban list. First off, we have Donald Dreger 6165. I believe that's how the second part of the username is pronounced. But anyways, the comment is just ban Stratos. If the card's effect were any better or any more cheaper to use, maybe. But it's a hard once per turn, and you can only activate one of the 2 effects, which are either to pop back row equal to the number of hero cards minus itself, or to take a hero monster from your deck. And yeah, most of the time if you're going to do the beginning of a combo with Stratos, you're going to grab a hero monster. It's going to be expected of you. So yes. But yeah, it's balanced to where it's not going to be, where it's still not overly powered and such. It won't ever be banned. And, for the comments from Tenebrae17, starting with Grinder Golem. Which bounces it and allows it to be summoned again. Well, anything that can bounce Grinder Golem was the enabler for it to be the problem. I mean, there's still plenty of bounce cards for the game, but yes, yeah, anything that can just completely just redo its effect over and over and over again has to be hit with a once per turn. Yeah, they didn't future-proof the older cards. That's why certain ones ended up on the ban list for a while. Monster Reborn being one of them. So yeah. The second one being about Crystron, Halki, Fibrax. So its second effect strong, but the first effect is able to certainly climbing place. Yeah. I looked at both, and both were like, this seems far too strong. But mentioning it being just for Crystron monsters, honestly, it does make sense. I looked up, and there's only 16 cards for the Crystron archetype, which, I mean, considering some archetypes take a while to even become an archetype, of course, one of them being penguins, limiting it to just Crystron monsters actually nerfs the shit out of Halki Fibrax. So if they were to do that, honestly, I can see that being at 1 for Halki Fibrax. So, yeah, I guess it's more of an update for that one. Considering I thought it was just the card itself. As far as... Yeah, it was just an idea. Nothing serious on the last comment. So, we can effectively just let that die, to be honest. Okay, so with that out of the way, let us take a look at today's cards. The first one is Heavy Metal Foes Electrumite. Now, I've actually made some notes so that I don't have to do mid-video searching. So, Heavy Metal Foes Electrumite is a Fire-type Psychic Link monster with the effect of it requiring 2 Pendulum monsters. If this card is link summoned, you can add one pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck face up. Once per turn, you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, then add one face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. If a card is in your pendulum zone, leaves the field, draw one card. You can only use this effect of Heavy Metal Foes Electromite once per turn. Now, the once per turn is actually just based off the last part of it, I believe. They each do have a once per turn, but it's not a hard once per turn from my understanding. So if they are, just let me know. Now, the main reason why Heavy Metal Foes Electromite was banned was the pendulums. That's the best way to put it. It was the pendulums. This was brought out when pendulums were at their all-time high, and people just did not like pendulums. So this was the ban, I believe, that killed pendulums for a lot of people. Now, for myself, I never played during the pendulum era. I knew about the pendulums, I just never played during it. So, to me, even with this card, I don't know if I would run it. It would take up an extra spot in a extra deck, or a spot where it could be dedicated to something else. But in terms of if this card could be brought back in its base form, maybe. I mean, honestly, like I said, Pendulum is not, well, was at its high when this came out. But nowadays, I don't really see Pendulum being played too often. So, if they were to be very, very, what's the word I'm thinking of? Well, if they really wanted to try it, they could probably put it at 1. And then see if it raises the popularity of Pendulum again. I know that... What was it? I know a deck just brought out new cards. It was Melodious. So Melodious just brought out a couple of new cards that made it better. But other than that, I don't know if there really is any other archetype that would come back, Pendulum-wise. If there would be, let me know. But if it would still be a problem, I would say limit Heavy Metal Foes Electromite's ability to anything Heavy Metal Foes related. I believe that would be the best solution for this monster, is to archetype limit it. Since it does have once per turn effects on a card already, so you can't really do far too much more to it. And if you were to change it to Heavy Metal Foes archetype only, I could still see it being at just 1 copy, with its effect being as good as it is. So, yes. That'd be a yes on both ends, depending on if it would be a problem with no change. With change, 1 copy on both. So, yes. Next card for today is Heavy Storm. This is an old school card. It's a regular magic card, and its effect is destroy all magic cards and trap cards on the field. Now, this is like this is both sides effect compared to Harpy's Feather Duster, which only did 1 side. And the main reason why Heavy Storm was banned was that you could pop your own back row effects. So if you had any cards that had destruction effects, such as, I think one of them was Gear Town, you can pop the effect after setting it. And it can do the same with your opponent's side too, but a lot of people would play their own upon destruction effect cards and then play Heavy Storm. So yeah. Now that's what I looked up and found for this card. So if there was anything different, let me know. Nowadays, also Pendulum. They would pop Pendulum cards and send them straight to the top of the extra deck. Bam. Okay, so just add that in there. So nowadays, Pendulum doesn't get played as often. I don't know if the Gate Guardian set from Maze of Millennium is being played still. I know when it came out, it was played pretty often because of how good it was. I don't know about nowadays. So yeah. Honestly, there would have to be some change to it, and that change would be any cards with upon destruction effects are negated. It doesn't matter which side. I think that would solve some problem with modern day use of Heavy Storm. But I don't know if that would be the best choice for this card. So, as far as its normal version, if there were no real play no real play of upon destruction cards, I could see it being brought back at 1. But if there was, I would say no, and then add in the errata effect. Now, with it errated, I can see it being at 1. Because of the fact that it's more of a gamble. Are you willing to give up those cards that you just set? Or are you not? So, yeah. And with that, let's jump into card number 3. And card number 3 is Imperial Order. Imperial Order is a continuous trap card, and its effect is negate all spell cards on the field. Once per turn, during the standby phase, you must pay 700 life points. This is not optional, or this card is destroyed. One of the things I remember about this card, and I don't remember if this was accurate or true, was that after you activated it, you were able to just not pay the 700 on the next turn and destroy the card. That's all I remember. So if it was banned for any other reason, let me know, because I could not find what the reason for the ban was. Now, could this card come back? Honestly, it would have to have a small change, and it would have to be that it is not only is the cost mandatory, but if what I recall true, that you would have to add the effect of you not being able to deny it. So you actually have to. But if it wasn't that or some other reason, that would have to be a workshop thing, because I'm not sure what other errata you can do for it. Now, as far as its original version, I really don't know if it could come back with no change. 700 is not that big of a life point cost. Hell, I've talked about cards where we went over Cyberstein, and that was 5,000. So 700 is not much, and magic cards are one of the bigger, especially nowadays, you have just regular, normal magic cards. Pretty much, air quotes, dominating most of the archetypes. So, more than likely not. Yeah. With no change or clarification, I would say it can't come back. But with clarification, I think it could, but only at 1. Just throwing that out there. So, yeah. And for today's final card, it is Isolde, Two Tales of the Noble Knights. It is a light warrior link monster. It requires 2 warrior monsters. Its effect is, if this card is link summoned, you can add 1 warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but for the rest of the turn, you cannot normal summon, set, or special summon monsters with that name, nor activate their monster effects. You can send any number of equipped spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Special summon 1 warrior monster from your deck whose level equals the number of cards sent to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Isolde, Two Tales of the Noble Knights once per turn. Okay, so its effect usage was already future-proofed. However, they generalized what you could use the effects for, which is really why, I want to say is the biggest reason why it was banned. Other than the milling possibility, I believe that was what I gather from this card's effect. Apart from just reading it right now, generalizing it as just warrior monsters. So in its normal form, I want to say, when was the last time they brought out Noble Knight cards? Because I think if this was brought out, Hero might use it. You can see Noble Knights being brought back. You can see random new warrior decks using it. So, honestly, I would see this being an archetype exclusive change. It would be from 2 warrior monsters to requiring 2 Noble Knight monsters. All the effects of this card mentioning warrior would have to be Noble Knights. Equip cards would be already archetype exclusive because the Noble Knights have their own archetype exclusive equip cards. So we could just go, that's it. And it's a link too, so that's probably another reason why it was so damn easy. Just bring out a couple, I guess, warrior type tokens and go straight into her. Or I'm not sure how people actually brought her out or turboed her out originally. So if you know, let me know. More than likely, someone will. But that's the only solution I can think of. Archetype exclusive Isolde, and that would solve pretty much the major problem with her. So yeah. Other than that, the original version I don't think can come back. Warriors are one of the bigger sets to be in the game. Apart from Dragon and Spellcaster, I believe. And Cyberse is itching closer and closer to being one of them, I believe. So yeah. And with that, I believe that'll be it for today. That's 4, right? Yeah. So next time we will continue on with the ban list. I do have ideas for different types of Yu-Gi-Oh videos in the near future. I'm not sure when they'll be or what kind I want to do first, but be on the lookout for those. And until next time, everyone, goodbye.